Before you all ask, no, this isn't going to be an infamous marathon, mostly due to this game being non-canon to the series. Plus, we're nearing 100 total reviews, so best we try and see if I could come up with 10 new reviews, whether they are trash or treasures, re-reviews. As long as we're nearing 100 reviews, I don't care. But tonight, I'm taking a look at a game that I would have loved to review back in October, but due to the PlayStation 3 permanently having that pesky HDCP, I needed to get the Orei HDMI Splitter to bypass that. But anyways, tonight's game is inFAMOUS Festival of Blood. Play that intro. Enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new review. Tonight I'll be taking a look at inFAMOUS Festival of Blood for the PlayStation 3. Festival of Blood is an action-adventure standalone DLC game developed by Sucker Punch, and it was released back in 2011 for the PS3. It was later re-released along with the first and second inFAMOUS games in the summer of 2012 as a part of the inFAMOUS collection. Unfortunately, we didn't get a physical copy in the collection, but rather a download code instead. But at the time, I didn't have internet at my grandparents' place, so the code ended up expiring, so instead I had to spend $15 just to download this game. Which, mind you, isn't much given how long this game is. But with all that out of the way, here's the question. Is Festival of Blood any good, and is this something I can recommend to you? Let's find out. So the game opens up in a bar where we see Cole's buddy Zeke along with a woman named Kat. Kat was about to leave until she heard about Zeke's relationship with Cole and stayed and listened to Zeke's story about Cole during the events of this little event called Pyre Night. We actually have a real-life equivalent to that called Mardi Gras, or Fat Tuesday, which is said to have originated or may have been linked to the ancient Roman pagan tradition of spring and fertility. But Pyre Night itself is completely fictional. Back to the story, we take control of Cole, and after healing some people, we get captured by a vampire, after which Cole is then cuffed and dragged to a tomb deep within the church, and the vampires use Cole's blood to revive Bloody Mary. Another fun bit of trivia, Bloody Mary is actually named after a real-life person known as Mary I of England, whose father is King Henry VIII himself. Her reign lasted from July of 1553 till her death on November 17, 1558 at age 42. She earned the nickname of Bloody Mary because of how many people she has killed, which is around 300. Compare that to Vlad the Impaler, that is only 0.38% of Vlad's kill count, which is roughly, I wanna say, 80,000 people! And just one last bit of trivia, Bloody Mary's VA in this game is April Stewart, who also voiced Lucretia Crescent, aka Sephiroth's birth mother in Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, Cole's now a vampire, and it's up to us and Zeke to try and figure out a way to kill Mary before the sun comes up in the next 8 hours. We then later learn of Father Ignatius and the Barbed Cross, which is said to be, and I quote, the ultimate bloodsucker slayer. We then go on a hunt for the Barbed Cross, find it, storm the church, and kill Bloody Mary, freeing Cole from his vampirism. Back in the present, Zeke finishes his story. Cole arrives and told that he dropped his amp in a pool. Seriously, Cole? Like, you're the demon of Empire City, for crying out loud. You have superpowers. You saved the world like, okay, technically once, if we're counting this game as non-canon, but also canon to inFAMOUS 1. But either way, dumbass. Kat decides to help Cole and thanks Zeke before revealing that Kat is actually a vampire, shocking Zeke, and the game ends. And that's the story of Festival of Blood. Overall, I definitely enjoyed this story. Sure, it's a bit short, but a game doesn't need to be long to be enjoyable. I mean, Festival only takes around 2.5 hours to beat. Well, that's regularly, and 4 hours for 100%. But, with the story out of the way, let's move on to gameplay. For gameplay, we take control of Cole McGrath, and the name of the game is Run, Jump, Shoot Lightning, Turn into a Swarm of Bats, Stake Other Vampires, Drink Blood, and Die. In all honesty, I do get why people don't like the whole Swarm of Bats thing, since in this game, and according to the game's overall lore, Cole was a self-taught parkour climber, and with the Swarm of Bats, that made that part of his character null. But I don't care, I just love this vampiric gameplay combined with the regular playstyle of the standard Infamous games. We also have user-generated content, or UGC for short, which are short fan-made levels by other people who played the game. To me, these player-made levels are what keeps me going back to this game. Visually, I say this game held up pretty great as well. It's not like in the original Infamous with stiff character animations. Here we actually have real human limb movements. Plus, I love the designs of the vampires and Mary herself. The cutscenes are alright. They're not bad by any means, they're just okay. And in terms of this game's OST, I hate to say this, but OST is pretty weak for this game. Most of it is just atmospheric, which isn't bad, but if the only song I can remember is the one that plays when you're about to boot up the game, which is called XMB Theme, then we have a problem. So let's recap everything I just went over. I think the story is pretty great for a vampire spin on the Infamous series. Gameplay is also pretty great. Visually it held up pretty well, but the OST is pretty weak. Here are my closing thoughts. To me, I think Festival of Blood is worth spending $15 on. For a 2.5 to 4 hours long game, it's definitely worth it. If you're a fan of Infamous and want to see what would happen if Cole were to turn into a vampire, then download this. If you're looking for a game to scratch that vampire itch, then I also recommend you download this. Overall, Infamous Festival of Blood gets my score of a 9.5 out of 10. If the OST were to have more memorable tracks, then I would have given this game a perfect 10. But now I want to know from you all. Did you play Festival of Blood? Did you enjoy it? And is this something you could recommend to a friend? Leave your answers and more down in the comments. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and while you're here, consider subscribing and turn on the bell to be notified when I make a new video. As always, my social media links are down in the description. I've been HorrorKid, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care now.